Old business, EPC 01-2021, Kenneth and Carla Cove, 281 Hollow Tree Ridge Road, proposing a replacement house with pool and a related site disturbance in an upland review area. The site is shown on Assessor's map number 26 as lot number 52.
Comments from Jim.
Okay, you have comments from Jim. I had okay, for the record, there was some comment as to the 283 Hollow Tree Ridge Road and 281. Okay, Rich, for the record, I'd like that clarified, so you can clarify that for the commission members.
I talked to Brian McMahon. I also went back into the former sales of the property, and at the time they had the wetlands mapped, they owned both lots. So the fact that it was addressed to 283, that was just where they were living. But it clearly both lots across the property.
Okay.
So, and it was under the same ownership.
Yep.
And it's indicated, and I also got it corrected. The letter, date on the letter.
Yep.
Was corrected. I received that the next day.
Okay. Does anybody else have any questions or comments on this draft?
Eric, are you able to hear me?
Yes, sir.
Thank you.
But we can't see it, Jim.
I know I can't. I'm trying to figure out why I can't. I'm doing this from my iPad for the first time because we're out of town. But wait, how's that?
There we go. Hey.
Thank you.
Now we can see it.
We're catching up.
I have one. Give that to you. Okay, so Jim, may I have a motion to approve this draft?
Yes, I'm happy to make a motion to approve the draft of the conditional approval for EPC application number 01-2021 for 281 Hollow Tree Ridge Road.
Susan, may I have a second?
Rich, should I abstain from?
No, you can support the motion. You'll just
Okay.
vote. You'll just abstain.
Okay, I second the motion.
Okay, thank you. Okay, without, I guess, you know, what do we say here, Rich? Without, I think everybody votes in favor. Susan will vote to abstain.
Yes.
Okay, we'll vote to abstain. So, okay. Fair, Susan?
Yes.
Okay, and we'll move on. The next item of business is EPC 20, is EPC 02-2021. Marina Christoffi, 7 Buttonwood Lane, proposing full construction in an upland review area. The site is shown on Assessor's map number 5. It's lot number 7.
I also received a corrected plan that said on a few locations said Buttonwood.
So that's not part of the official record.
That is now incorrect.
Okay.
That was the one that letter.
Okay.
That was the one that had the letter dated 2020.
Okay. Yeah, I didn't, you know, as usual, Jim did his great edit checks. Oh, I didn't have any comments on that. Jim, I have a motion to approve EPC 02-2021.
Yes, I'd like to put forth a motion for the approval of the EPC application's conditional approval for number 02-2021, referencing 7 Buttonwood Lane.
Great. Susan, may I have a second?
I second the motion.
Thank you. I think everybody approves this one, and Susan will abstain. Is correct?
Yes.
That's okay. Good. So that one's approved. Moving on to the next one is EPC 05-2021. William and Jane Glassmeyer, 8 Woods End Road, proposing pool construction in upland review area. The site is shown on Assessor's map number 11 as lot number 21 and 22. Okay, Rich, what I wanted to get on the record here was, there were some questions as to, the plant list was submitted, and so that's part of the record now and has been approved by you.
Came in within a day or so after I drafted it, so I just changed that condition to say that list on the plan.
Okay, yeah, because I had that bottom of page 2
So you received-
under conditions, yeah.
Plant list was in your
Yep, no, here, but it's part, it was part of the revised one. Okay, so you changed that afterwards. Okay, good. Miller, may I have a motion to approve EPC 05-2021?
Yes, I'm pleased to put forth that motion, Eric, for EPC application 05-2021 with reference to 8 Woods End Road.
Good, Susan, may I have a second?
I second the motion.
Okay, without objection, I'll put it as unanimous, but Susan will vote, will abstain.
Yes.
Okay. Okay, done. Moving on to new business. New business is EPC 07-2021. Daniel and Hannah Washenstein, 58 Bridle Trail, proposing a house addition and driveway expansion in an upland review area. The site is shown on assessor's map number 2 as lot number 64. Who is representing the applicant?
I am Arpita Muchal.
Okay. Floor is yours.
Oh, sorry. So we are, I met with Rich Jacobson about this. We are expanding the garage. We are not increasing the encroachment onto the upland review area. However, we are, since the garage right now is rear facing, we are facing it to the side, and thereby we need to just widen the driveway over there by a few feet. And provide for access into the garage.
Mm-hmm.
I spoke with Rich, and he said he would ask for us to put some plantings, which we are good with, to get this approved.
Rich, we have a.
Make it a condition.
Okay. What we'll do is we'll make that a condition that you submit something to Rich, who will and so staff can approve it.
Sounds good.
Okay. Okay. Now going through the commission members. Jim, do you have any questions on this one?
I had no questions, Eric.
Susan, do you have any questions on this one?
No, I'm fine with this. Thank you.
Gunnar?
Yes, I was out there today, and it looks like on the, I guess, the east side of the property, well, yeah, to the east of the driveway, there is a little stream, and it was flowing pretty well today. I guess my question is, does that ever overflow and get all the way up into the driveway and or into the backyard?
Not to our knowledge, and not per the surveyor either.
So the plan is, this basically going over
There's a lot of static. Gunnar, could you please repeat that question?
So the plan is to go over the existing garage?
Yes, the plan is to go over the existing garage, but also add a bay towards the back.
Okay, so extend it, I guess, to the south?
Yes.
Okay. All right. And what, it looked like the driveway was not in the greatest condition. What's your plan for the driveway?
So we are regrading there to be able to enter the garage. So at that point, we'll take care of the driveway as well.
When you say take care of, what do you mean?
Probably repave it at that point.
Okay.
And we are reducing what the driveway, the size of the driveway, because now We don't need to enter the garages from the back. So rather than increase our impervious surface, we've actually kept it at the same as existing, with the addition and with the expansion of the width of the driveway.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Bill?
No, I'm fine. Thanks.
Fine? Okay, I don't have any questions. I think that was good. Nobody else, Rich, so you're done? Okay,
Right now.
yeah, Rich, why don't you write it up as a draft for our approval? And then we'll approve it next time. Peter, thank you very much.
Thank you, everyone.
Next item of business is EPC 08-2021. Nathaniel and Dana Checketts, 106 Stephen Mather Road, proposing pool construction in a regulated area and upland review area. The site is shown on Assessor's Map number 1 as lot number 29. Oh, who's representing the applicant?
I am Alan Broadbent, landscape architect. How are you?
Good evening.
Good evening. So as mentioned, I met with Rich on this application. These owners have recently purchased the property from our prior owner, who had submitted an application back in 2013 for a swimming pool, pool house, and additions to the residence. And at the time, they were represented by another landscape architect, and those applications went through a series of meetings, were ultimately approved, and then were amended in 2015 by Dan Gordon, landscape architects out of Boston, for all of the improvements that were set forth, mostly in the wetland, with some of them in the upland review area. New owners have engaged me to represent them, and we took a look at what had been approved, the plans on paper, and it was more than what this current owner is interested in doing in that area. So we've revised the plans, and we're resubmitting a new application, even though those had already been approved, for a lesser scope project of a swimming pool with a patio closer to the back of the residence, no pool house, no addition to the residence. And so we've submitted our plans. I'm happy to share a screen if that's helpful. I can take you through the plans. You've probably already seen them.
Please share the screen.
Alan, you should be able to present. There you go.
You got to make it a little larger. Please.
Okay, are you able to see that now?
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
Great. So the plan that you're looking at on the screen right now is the plan that was prepared by Dan Gordon, landscape architects, in 2018, which proposed the pool house, etc. I provided for reference since there was a history of applications and approvals on the property. Our plan is down below, which is here, bringing the pool up closer to the back of the house and getting it further from the wetland as far as possible. This property is a very tough one because most of the backyard is regulated area with very small area of upland review. We also rearranged the way that the rain garden would work, and then we're proposing a 5,000 square foot mitigation planting in the area of lawn. It's predominantly lawn, almost this entire property. And so our proposal is to remove 5,000 square feet of lawn in that lower southern area adjacent to a small intermittent creek that is back there, at least based on the information that was prepared by Alan Pilch, who's the stormwater management engineer. And on our plan, we show the planting for that area, which would be a mix of trees and shrubs, very consistent with what was proposed and approved already by the prior landscape architects, and would filter runoff and mitigate that lower area. We also are proposing a rain garden for the stormwater sheet flow coming off of the pool patio, and that is shown on Alan Pilch's diagram here, which is just the southeast proposed swimming pool location. We're not proposing any adjustments or improvements to the home itself, just simply the swimming pool and the surrounding patio as depicted in our drawings. The stormwater calculations have been included in your packet, as well as details regarding sedimentation and erosion control devices. As noted in my letter, we feel this is an improvement over prior applications in the sense that it's a smaller scale project. It's closer to the back of the house. It's further out of the wetlands as much as possible on this property. Without putting the swimming pool literally a foot from the back door, it's actually impossible to locate a swimming pool on the property outside of the regulated area. So our hope is that in so doing, we've put together a proposal that is less impactful on the wetland and would make for a usable recreation space for a young family in a way that is the least impact on the wetland area.
Great. I was on the commission when this was originally, when I forget who the people were that came in and pardon? The butlers. The butlers came in to approve, to get this approved, and part of the story was that they were going to provide a conservation easement in the back. Okay, to Rich, and please correct me, Rich, jump in. To get a conservation easement in the back, and that was never done. And I guess the reason was that they never built the pool, so they never felt they had to do the conservation easement. Okay, so that was the agreement, and so now I guess what you're saying is the footprint is a lot less, and is there? I haven't really seen any delineation there for the wetlands, Rich, that were some what I call the boulder line, or
I don't recall that. Alan, is there a demarcation line with a series of boulders that could be added? That's something we I don't recall if that was.
Well, something could be added to the edge of the mitigation area.
Yeah.
The edge of the wetland itself is contiguous lawn to the north and south of the line.
Typically, we ask for. Oftentimes, it could be a split rail fence, but it could also be boulders. You're going to need.
I think a split rail fence would be more attractive in this particular setting because it's a pastoral location.
Well, you're going to need a pool fence there anyway. So right on, you're needing a pool fence around this thing, unless you put the pool fence. Well, he has the proposed pool fence much closer around the pool than out this. So I guess
that's a specific request. The owner has young children, and they wanted a pool fence that's much closer to the pool, so that when the children go out to play, they're not going into a pool area; they're going separately out to the yard.
An additional split rail fence would.
I'm fine with that. I'm fine with Alan. You can discuss it with Rich if it's a split rail fence. It's just something to distinguish that, because I'm not worried about this owner. I'm worried about the successive owners, understanding that that's a special area. Okay, and so for my part, I think that quite frankly, a better plan for a pool than what the butlers had proposed. The butlers had other circumstances that they needed that way. So,
they did, yeah, which we understood, and that made sense for them in that situation. So yeah, split rail fence, I think aesthetically actually would be a nice addition to the property and would also serve to mark the edge of mitigation area for future generations that might own the home.
Okay, so Rich, now I have a question for you. Now that there hasn't, we are the conservator of the conservation area. Now this conservation area was never done. It was never consummated.
Well, at the time it was proposed, it was, again, it's all lawn.
Yeah.
The commission recognized that, but it was a substantially larger area.
Yep.
And there was more fill because they, as I recall, wanted to bring it up closer to the elevation. We're at the elevation of the house, so it would be handicap accessible.
Mm-hmm.
But without the pool house, without the addition, and less terrace, but there's still a huge ratio of land impact to what's being stored.
Yep.
So once they proposed this without the easement, I said it should be a new application.
Yep. Okay.
Yes.
And it's their way of getting out of the conservation. Okay.
I think the easement for this pool would have been overkill.
Yep. No, I agree with you. I know. I agree with you in that sense. So anyway, the reason I jumped in because I wanted all of the the commissioners to understand that there was a little history on this property with the conservation easement, and so when when you think about this, that this is, you take this into consideration. I agree with what Rich said, is that this has a lot less impact there, and I think what they're proposing planning is good. But anyway, let's go reverse. Bill Wright?
Yeah, I like the idea of establishing a line there with a split rail fence or something so that future generations don't go back and start encroaching. So other than that, I have no other questions.
Great. Gunnar?
No, I don't have any questions. I think so. Anything I was going to ask has already been covered. Thank you.
Susan?
No, I definitely prefer this proposal to the initial one. And I do like the idea of using the demarcation of the line. Thank you.
Okay. Jim?
Yeah. Thank you, Eric. I was out there myself this past weekend before we traveled out of town. And I think, as some of you know, I live up in this part of town. So I travel Stephen Mather constantly. And I also found, and I think your questions helped me as well, Eric, or your observations, maybe the better way to say it from your prior experience with the Butler family, that the plan as revised that Mr. Broadbent has presented, I think is an improvement for this particular site, and I commend the new family for the enhancements to the over 5,000 square feet of enhancements to the environment there, and I have no other questions. I think it's a very nice plan.
Thank you.
That was a good presentation, Alan. Considering that, Rich, let's write it up.
Yeah.
Okay, and then Alan, you can talk with Rich. I think whatever the split rail fence you two can agree on is fine with me.
That sounds fine. Thank you very much.
Okay. Thank you.
Thanks so much.
Okay, take care, Alan. Okay, next item of business is EPC 09-2021, Craig and Sue-Ann Shore, 49 Sunswick Road, proposing a replacement house and grading related to the septic system in an upland review area. The site is shown on Assessor's Map number 62 as lots number 25 and 26. So I will remind the commissioners that it was March 6th of last year that we had an application on this one. So, Doug, I know you're representing the applicant.
Yes, I am. Jeremy, can I have the screen?
Give it a shot, Doug. I think that should work.
Okay. You see my screen?
Hold on. We have you down as webcam sharing, but how about now? Try it now.
Yep, there we go. Got it.
You were on that list twice, so I wasn't sure which one I turned on.
Oh, okay, yeah. Yeah. Share. There we go.
Beautiful.
Okay, let's get this over there.
Make that a little larger, Doug, please.
Yeah. Yeah. Is that good?
Good at my end.
Okay, good evening, Doug DeVesta, professional engineer representing the applicant. As Eric mentioned, this was before you last year. At that point, it was for a 2-lot subdivision. Since then, the owner of the property sold it to an individual family who wants to keep the property intact as it is and construct a new house on it. The property is 2.5 acres on the west side of Sunswick Road. It has an existing house, which is hard to see on this map here. I should look at the map, but it's in general location where my cursor is. There's a detached garage with a paved driveway going to the detached garage. Jay Fain, Fain Associates, flagged the wetlands. So there's about 1,500 square feet of wetlands on the south side and about 8,000 square feet on the north side. The property, what we're proposing to do is raise the existing dwelling and construct a new dwelling in approximately the same location as the existing. The detached garage and the driveway will remain. We will be putting a new septic system in for the new house, which will be right behind the existing garage where the existing septic system is now. And then have stormwater management will be on the westerly side of the property to handle the increase in runoff from the proposed dwelling and the new driveway cut for the residents. The reason why we're here tonight is the red line you're seeing here, what I'm highlighting, and along here is the upland review area, and a portion of the proposed septic system will be in the upland review area as well as the grading. The septic system has to be raised due to the fact that there is ledge rock, and to meet the current health code requirements, we had to bring in fill, and the grading brought it down towards the wetlands area. In terms of the stormwater runoff, we're capturing the runoff from the proposed roof area and the driveway and conveying it down to the detention system to handle the 2, 10, 25, and 50-year design storm, which we met the requirements, and discharging it through an outlet structure and to a level spreader. Then it will sheet flow in a south and westerly direction towards the wetlands. The septic system is currently in the health department for review. So hopefully by the next meeting, we will have an approval from the health department on the septic system. So basically that's the gist of the project. So if there's any questions, I'll be glad to answer them.
Before we get started, I have a question for the commission members. This property was fairly involved a lot of public comment the last time. Now, given that the impact is much less on the wetlands, and we can go through those questions in more detail with Doug. The question is, what's the feeling on holding a public hearing on this? Because the building itself is not even going to get a public hearing from planning and zoning, correct, Jeremy?
Based on what I've seen, there might not be a need for a planning and zoning commission public hearing because the amount of grading is very close to the house, and the other grading is solely related to the stormwater management. Is that your perception, Doug, or did you suspect that you might need to go to planning and zoning?
No, we did not expect to go to planning and zoning because, again, as a right, we can do grading around the drainage and around the septic systems. That's all. It's all right. And then the grading behind the house here is relative to filling in the foundation area from the existing house. So I don't see it going to a planning and zoning hearing.
Right. I would agree with Doug that based on, again, this is the first I've seen of it, much scaled back over the prior proposal, which was obviously for two houses and associated septic systems, stormwater management. So based on what I see, there's no work in the flood zone. The work will not have any coastal impacts based on simple replacement, and the regrading is tight to the house and only what's necessary to put in the stormwater management and the septic system. So I would not see this going to the planning and zoning commission.
Okay, good. Thank you, Jeremy. I'd like to get a sense of the commission whether this should go to public hearing or not. My personal opinion is, I have to get my questions out later to Doug, but I'm tending to no, although I could be persuaded yes. Jim?
Eric, thank you. I'm sitting here knowing you would pose that question, and given the very good scrutiny, I'd like to note for the record the very thorough review of this plan that was so active last spring by the professionals involved, I think by our own deliberations. To me, this is one of those examples which every now and then, to me anyway, pops up, which confirms the good work that we're trying to do as a commission. And so I'm of mixed feelings on whether there should be a public hearing, because I remember well the neighboring Hamilton Hall family, Mr. Bragg, rather vociferous on what was being proposed at the time. I'm frankly thankful of the change in heart by the prior owner to sell to these, I'm sure, welcome new owners, and the revised and reduced scope of work on their plan for a single family home, preserving the garage. I just wonder, my mixed feelings, to summarize, sorry to be so long-winded, all of you. My mixed feelings are, would we offend those neighbors who were so active last spring in the earlier plan by not inviting a public hearing to have everybody see, hey, new owner, new plan, reduced scale, looks to be well designed by Mr. DeVesta's very professional firm at all times. And I just, give them a voice, invite them in, and show them that the EPC is a fully transparent, open, welcoming organization.
My argument, and Rich and I have gone back and forth on this, is to say, well, they always have a recourse, which is we can handle this without a public hearing. We come up with our draft, it gets published, and they have 15 days.
No, they have 15 days from 14 days. 14 days from meeting to 25 signatures.
Okay, so if they were so motivated, if they were so motivated, they could petition a public hearing. Okay, so that's that would be the recourse if we didn't hold it. And so so anyway, but I'd like to get through. Susan, your opinion?
Can I just finish? Let me respond to one thought you had there. Sorry, sure. Susan, to step in front of you there. I understand that there are procedures. Rich helps us all understand better the 15-day that you just described. I just wonder if, for putting it on our record, that we invite a public hearing. No one may attend. They may say, great new plans, glad it's not 2 homes versus 1. No public hearing, no anything. It's just, we at least, stood strong and tall and invited it. We're open to it. It appears once again, it's very well thought out, well planned, and within code. That's part of where I'm at.
Okay. Thank you, Susan.
Well, like Jim, I do have mixed feelings given the contentious history of the original plans. But we also need to be fair to the neighbors, but also to the current owners who have put forth this well thought out proposal. And do we really want to force them? We didn't have that prior history and this was the only plan we saw, would we want to hold a public hearing? Because if the answer is no, then I think, to be fair to the current owners, we shouldn't make them wait an extra 30 days.
That's a pretty good argument.
I think it's a very good point Susan makes, just to jump in.
If there hadn't been a history there, then, no, I don't think it would go to public hearing. On the other hand, we can't deny the history, but
can I just review the reasons for having a public hearing, the regulations?
Sure, go ahead, Rich.
First would be that you find there's a significant impact to the wetland, and not the upland area, the wetland itself. And this does not apply. Second would be that it is in the public interest. And in the past, you have used that fairly broadly when you're talking about a new house, because the neighbors, need to be notified. You felt that, especially flooding issues and so forth, that you wanted them to at least be aware of it rather than have them all of a sudden there's a house torn down. The third criteria is the petition. It's 25 signatures, 25 adults. They could be, they don't have to pay anybody.
Residents at Darien.
Yeah, any 25 people. I think it's a low threshold.
Yeah. All right. Let's. No, I'd like to hear Gunnar and Bill. Before we. Gunnar, you want to take yourself?
Yeah. Good comments, Jim, and good comments, Susan. I guess my question to Rich: Have you heard from any of the neighbors, one way or the other, about this project so far?
Not from the neighbors. I did speak to Mike Urban, who said that that he's aware of the fact that the new owners have discussed it with at least one neighbor. So I think the neighbors are aware that there are new owners and what their plans are. Not that they've seen these plans, although they're online. They can certainly look at them.
Yeah, they are online. So absolutely. William?
I just have to step away one second.
I'm in favor of Jim that this ought to be out there one more time, in particular because they were very concerned about how the septic system was going to operate. It was going to get onto all their property and go downhill. And if you look at this plan, they still may look and say, well, look where that septic system is. It's over near the wetland. Can't they flip-flop it and put it where the detention system is? Which is a question I have as well. But that's a question they might have. That was a big item of theirs, was where this sewage was going to go if there was a problem. And there it is, right on the same area where it was originally, but now it's drawing attention because it's a new one.
I guess, Rich, what do you think on this one? To have a public hearing on this one? I'm full torn. So,
Eric, can I make a comment? Eric, can I make a comment?
Of course.
The neighbor to the south of us, who was the most vocal on this project, she was very opposed to having a 2-lot subdivision on this thing. And she, I think even in her testimony, said that she wanted to, she'd be very happy with a single family house up here. They were putting a new house and leaving the existing house there. So again, we're providing, in terms of her, meeting her criteria, we are showing just the one house versus 2 houses. So I think in that regards, it's a less of a in density development versus having 2 lots up there. So again, she was the one who pushed and wanted to go for single family, one house up there, and that's what we're proposing here. So I think it really, it's meeting that part of it, but also the question regarding the septic system. The septic system that we originally proposed for this southern lot was down over here, which was much closer to the wetlands, or it was actually flowing more towards the wetlands, towards the property line. Now we're back up to where the existing system is really located. So again, we're further from any wetlands, except for the grading that's going on down along here. But the flow path for the septic system is this way, which is a much longer flow path towards any property line. So again, I feel this septic system meets all current health codes, and it's a much better location than we had down here. Down here would work, but up here is probably even better yet.
By the way, is there any blasting that's going to go on?
Blasting most likely would be done not for the septic system, but for the house itself, for the foundation.
So you're going to have a full basement?
I believe so.
Okay, and that's going to be and what I should remember this, Doug, but I don't. Which is the water level? Around the house, because I see you're building up the house. You're creating significant gradients there.
Yeah, I'd have to look at my details. Mostly, I think we did have some modeling up in this area here, 17, 18, 17 and 18. I don't have my third sheet up. I'll pull my third sheet up. Just bear with me for a second.
By the way, Doug, who's the builder?
I don't think we picked one out yet. Jacek is the architect, and I think he's on the call. I don't know if they picked a builder just yet.
Okay.
Jacek, do you have a builder yet?
No, excuse me, Jacek Bigoshinsky, PB Architects. No, we don't have a builder yet. Where the house is going, the new house, it's actually overlapping the existing. So in terms of the regrading that you see there, that really is not due because of the house. It's just because of the way the grades are now. And so we're filling the hole that the existing house is sort of creating, or already created. The existing house has a master bedroom wing, which juts out and it actually drops off and follows the grade. Once we pull that out, we'd like to restore the grade to what it probably was at one point in time. So that's really the main reason for the regrading that you see there in the upper left corner between the patio and the lower left corner there of the house. That's where Doug is pointing right now. That's really to fill that hole from the old house. And yes, there is some ledge there probably, and yes, we would like to have a full basement.
Okay. So now what kind of basement are you going to make? Is that going to require sump pumps and everything else?
Probably
No, we don't. Yeah. Well, if you look at the grades, the house is at floor elevation 62, and it drops off. The grade drops off quite a bit. I don't think there's any groundwater there at that point. But Doug obviously would. I know he has there are some test holes there in the front of the house.
You're right. Right. 18. This had ledge rock shallow. This had 47 inches to groundwater, to a modeling layer here on 17. Again, that's a slab on grade right there. But again, Jacek, the existing house has, where's my mouth, where's my thing go?
You can actually see the outline of the existing house, right where it says proposed 5-bedroom. That's part of the existing house.
I lost my mouse.
All right.
Lost my mouse. I can't.
All right, what I'd like to do is just go around the commissioner's table here and say public hearing, yes or no. And I'll be,
Eric, I'll start. I thank everybody for the back and forth. Very helpful to me. Susan's question, hit a chord with me, and Rich's guidance as to what is needed. I think there is procedures in town that allow those neighbors that may want to address this through Rich's description, sign an appeal. It's not an appeal. Help me on the right word, Rich. But the signatures to ask for a public hearing versus what I said before I was having mixed feelings on that should we be pushing for it. I think everybody's done such a good job here. The process will reach a public hearing if it's meant to be by the surrounding neighbors.
Susan?
I think I agree with Jim. I feel comfortable as long as the neighbors do have recourse, and if they request a public hearing, then so be it. But I think we need to be fair to all parties, including the owners.
Right. That's that helped me a lot, Susan.
Gunnar?
Yeah, I would agree. Let the process play out, and if they want to appeal afterwards, that's fine. But I would say we should not go with a public hearing at this point. Let the process take care of that.
Bill?
Yeah, I'll go with them too. They got a single house. That was the most important to them. One other quick little item on the application 6E. You said the method of construction for each of the lots. You want to change that because it looks like you're still trying to subdivide. So it's on item 6E on the application.
Very good. Thank you, Bill.
Yep. Other than that, no public hearing.
Okay. Then does anybody else have any questions for does anybody else have any questions for either Doug or Jacek? No?
No.
All right. then, because I think this is, a really excellent alternative to,
One comment I had is I would like to see a planting plan for the,
Rich, can you?
I couldn't hear Rich there.
what Rich is saying is he would like to see a planting plan. No, I'm on,
Doug,
Yep,
yeah, I'd like to see a planting plan.
no problem. Okay.
Something, not as extensive, obviously, I don't think is required as what Matt popped in the last one, unless you wanted that. Plan. But something, at least in that, the other, in that upland area.
By the,
Okay.
by the septic system there?
Yes,
yeah, so what we'll agree is, so a condition will be, Doug or his representative will submit a planting plan to staff for approval. You okay with that, Doug?
Yes, yes, I am.
All right. So then, Rich, you'll write it up?
Yep.
Okay. Thank you very much, Doug.
Thank you.
Thank
Moving
you.
forward to the agent approval, no action is necessary unless the commission receives an appeal of the approval within 15 days of the publication date per section 12.2 of the Inland Wetlands and Watercourses Regulations. It is EPC 06-2021, Ming and John Gannon, 8 Holly Lane, proposing a house addition and 8 driveway expansion in upland review area. The site is shown on Assessor's Map number 9 as lot number 159. As from all the commission members got that. And did anybody have any questions for Rich? I gotta tell you something, we've received a lot of applications for Lower Holly Lane. And I almost everyone. Remember the house on the corner had 2, across the street 3. Wow.
Yeah.
Oh,
I have a question.
activity.
yes.
I have a question, if I might. It's a really nice little water course there, and one of my pet peeves is when we've got grass coming down in an elevation from the house down to this water course. Can we ask them to put some kind of a planting along that water course to stop the fertilizer?
Absolutely, yeah.
Good idea.
Thank you.
Anybody else?
Nope, no comment from here.
Your agent approval. You can have the condition. Okay.
By the way, they have, I've discussed property in general with the architect. They have some large pines that are well beyond usefulness in terms of screening. They're not, and eventually they want to do a planting. They want to take those trees down and revegetate that area, which would be a whole separate application in the future. But in the meantime, I don't know if that would dovetail in, or they can make that happen during the course of their construction. They'd have plenty of time maybe to come up with that overall plan for that area, which I think would be good. I'll talk to them. In the meantime, I can at least have that condition.
Sure. Okay, going on to other business, discussion of stormwater management system maintenance on residential properties. We're waiting for our missing member, Mr. Urban, taking a course. So he'll once he gets done, will be illuminated, and then the subcommittee we formed will meet to come back with recommendations to the commission. The minutes of February 3rd, 2021.
I have Jim's comments. If anybody else has anything,
in the middle of the. Oh, here, yes, I have my name's misspelled. Okay, and I can't believe Jim didn't get that one. Okay, and then my favorite.
Wait, you can't believe? I'm sorry, you can't believe what?
You didn't catch it.
Oh my God.
Okay, no, there's another one here where it should be native plants and it's naive plants.
I got that. I gave that to Rich.
Oh, you gave that to Rich? Oh, you got that one?
Rich, come defend me. Rich, please defend me here.
I even spelled correct.
I was going to say, even with the 2 little dots, the umlaut on top.
Umlaut.
Sorry, you redeemed yourself a little bit here, Tim.
Thank you.
Okay, does anybody else have any questions or comments on the minutes? Okay. Jim, may I have a motion to approve the minutes?
I propose that we approve the minutes of February 3, 2021 as requested.
Great, Susan, may I have a second?
I second the motion.
Thank you. Without objection, so approved. I would like to remind the commission members that there is Saturdays. I got an inch thick book, Jeremy, isn't it? You know, probably got the same thing, right? A good stack of paper that's.
You should be getting the Zoom code.
Okay, well, I haven't got the Zoom. Okay, I haven't got that.
We haven't either found, so.
Oh, okay. Because
Should be getting that tomorrow.
Okay, we should be getting that. And if you don't get it by Friday afternoon, you know, what should we do? Because you guys are off. Okay, we'll think about that.
Unless somebody's off, we'll give you some.
I'm sure you'll get it by Friday afternoon.
Okay.
Or you think
But you know, having read through that, having read through, you know, some of that stuff's, you know, it's tough. It's technical reading. It's tough reading. But as a commissioner, I find it very useful. So I hope everybody is able to attend the sessions that they so choose. Okay, so without that, obviously, I guess it's time to adjourn. Jim?
But before we do, may I, certainly on my behalf, and I think on behalf of probably all of our EPC members, thank Jeremy. I see you there, Jeremy, for inviting us all to participate in this. I have your January 14th memo in front of me. And as you heard me say, I am out of town, but I printed this so I was sure to try and attend the 3 sessions for EPC members that you recommended. And does that still hold, you think, for this commission? And maybe there are others I should look at it myself and make a decision on, but the 12:30 installment, the 1 o'clock and the 3:40 are particular to our discussions?
Yes, very much. And I can almost guarantee, having been to enough of these, that they are very precise about the time. So when they say 1 o'clock they're gonna start talking about conflict of interest, I'm almost certain they will start at 1 p.m. sharp. The presenters have given the same presentations for many years. They know how to keep it down to a half hour. The written materials kind of supplement their presentations. So certainly on any one of these topics, you could talk for 2 or 3 hours. So it's very succinct, as Eric noted. It's a lot of heavy reading, but they're all very, very much experts in their field. So the sessions are very well done, and I think it's much easier to do it in small chunks, an hour a piece. So I think for the sessions you're interested in, pick out a couple, and it's nice to be able to do it from home and not have to drive up to Middlebury where it's usually held.
There were 2 in the afternoon. One was on conflicts, or when to basically use yourself. Mm-hmm. The other one is on interventions, and I'd recommend that one because you have in the past gotten interventions, and it's good to know what they are and how to deal with them. So the 2 in the early afternoon, and then the 2 half hours later afternoon.
Mike's just at 12:30, Rich. Mike's a very good speaker, very engaging.
Yeah.
And so that would be definitely one not to miss, I would say.
Yeah, exactly, yeah, that one. You're only going to watch one, that would be one.
Okay, good.
Well, that's great. Thank you for that. I look forward to participating in that from where we are here in the greater United States.
If you don't have a link by Friday night, please email me. We'll get you the link to log in, but I'm sure you're going to get it tomorrow. Did any of you not receive the written materials? Oh, you all got it. Good. So there was some delay with some of them, but I'm glad to see that you all received the big booklets.
Yes.
So that's good.
Yes.
Okay. Tim, you want to make a motion to adjourn?
I'm pleased to make a motion to adjourn tonight's EPC hearing from Bachelor Gulch, Colorado. Thank you for all of your attendance.
Oh, this is your home in Colorado, not in Wyoming, not in Jackson Hole?
There are many homes, right?
How little do we know you, Jim? Okay, Susan, can I have a second, please?
I second the motion.
Okay, without objections, so approved. I assume you're not going to abstain. So approved. Anyway, listen, thank you all for making the meeting. Much appreciated. And as always, we'll see you next month.
You bet. Thank you all.
Okay, good night.
Good night.